Here we are at our third topic, parallel lines and transversals. We're going to spend quite some time on this topic only because it has many parts. So let's take a look at what parallel lines and transversals are. Before we can begin to work with them, we need to know what they are. So two lines that never touch are called parallel lines. We'll know lines are parallel by arrows that are written on them. There will be arrows on the lines and they indicate that they are parallel. Okay? Notice these lines here. You have line L with an arrow on it and line M. That means they are parallel. Our symbol for parallel is basically two straight lines up and down right next to each other. A line that intersects, meaning touches at one point, two or more lines. So any line that intersects two or more lines is called a transversal. So if you look at this diagram, on your paper it's to your left and on mine it's above right here. But we would say line L is parallel to line M. And the transversal is line T. Okay, that line T is intersecting those two lines. Now notice what I said in the definition. It could intersect two or more lines. When you have a transversal and parallel lines, you have special angle pairs that are formed. Look at this picture here. When there are two parallel lines and a transversal, 8 angles are formed. Okay? These 8 angles have special relationships. The first relationship would be corresponding angles. Corresponding angles sit in the same position. Okay? And when I say the same position, I'm referring to the same position on that parallel line. These angles are always congruent. Okay? Corresponding angles is always a pair. So if you look at this one, I have angle 1 and angle 5. Those are corresponding, meaning they have the same measure. Angle 3 corresponds to angle 7. Notice what's happening. The two that I circled in blue, that one is sitting above a parallel line, and so is angle 5. It's also sitting to the left of the transversal. So both 1 and 5 are above and left of the transversal. If you want to make sure that you understand that, write down what I just said and you'll get an extra bonus point on your homework. Also write the position of angle 3 and 7. Angle 3 and angle 7 are to the right of the transversal, but below the parallel line. So those angles are corresponding and they're congruent. In your notes, I want you to name 2 other pairs of corresponding angles. Another special relationship is something called alternate interior angles. These are inside your parallel lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. These angles are always congruent. So if you look, I've got angle 3 and that's inside. It's inside L and M. Its alternate interior is angle 5. Those have the same measure. There is only one other pair of alternate interior. What is it? Write it in your notes. Another angle relationship is called alternate exterior. And that's the same concept, except these are outside the parallel lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. These angles are also always congruent. So let's take a look. Here I have angle 1 and angle 7. Notice how they are outside those parallel lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. Another pair is 2 and 8. There's only 2 pairs, okay? They have the same measure, meaning 2 and 8 are the same and 1 and 7 are the same. Our last relationship is consecutive interior, okay? These are on the same side and they're inside. These are supplementary. Supplementary means they add up to 180. So you would have, okay, angle 3 and angle 6, same side. They're called consecutive interior. Another pair is 4 and 5. Okay? So let's take a look at this and practice classifying from a diagram. So what I want you to do is, looking at what you have to the left, tell me what each angle pair is that is stated and if they're congruent or supplementary. So first I'm looking at angle 1 and angle 5. Okay? Those are on opposite sides and outside. So those would be alternate exterior. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. Okay? Let's go look at the next pair. I have 6 and 8. Those are corresponding. Corresponding angles are congruent. Okay, that's all I'm asking you here, and that's all you can answer. Last, I have angle 2 and angle 3. They are both on the inside on the same side. They're called same side interior, or what we also wrote, consecutive interior. That might help. So if you want to use the word same side, or if you want to use the word consecutive, that helps you. These angles are supplementary, meaning they add up to 180. Write that in your notes. Okay? Well, you're going to finish 4 through 8 on your own. And finish it tonight. So I have an example for you here. This is pretty much always going to be consistent of how we do this. I'm looking for the measure of angle 2. I'm actually asking the measure now. If you read the problem, it says, given P is parallel to Q, measure of angle 1 is 68. So write in 68. I can start solving things. My first thing I would go to would be angle 4. I know it's 68. How do I know it's 68? And I'd write it there. Well, that's because they're vertical angles. So they have the same measure. That's from our video last week. I can also look at something. Do you see this straight line? That is made up of angle 1 and angle 2. Angle 1 and angle 2 forming a straight line mean that they add up to 180. So I could solve that equation. 180 minus 68, okay, that's 112. Well, by knowing angle 2, what else do I know? Look at it. That's right. You know angle 3 because it is vertical. Write that in. So they have the same measure. So now I need to go down to my other group of 4 angles. Angle 5, 6, 7, and 8. So let's go look, okay, at angle 1 and angle 5. They have a relationship. What are they? That's right. They are corresponding. Corresponding angles have the same measure. So guess what? Measure of angle 5 is also 68. You might be picking up on a pattern here. Okay, so let's find our next angle pair. I know angle 5, so I'm going to go with angle 5. What else can I go with? There's a couple other ways you could go, but I'm going to go with the obvious one, angle 8. Angle 5 and angle 8 are vertical. Vertical angles have the same measure. They're congruent. Therefore, angle 8 is 68. Now, I got to go to 6 and 7, and there are a couple ways you can figure it out, but I think an easy one is look at 2 and 6. That's one of our new relationships. Those are corresponding. Corresponding angles are congruent. Okay, so if 2 is 112, 6 is 112. That leads me to, all I got to find is 7. Well, look at 6 and 7 are vertical, so that means angle 7 is 112. So now it's your turn. I want you to do this problem and try and find the missing angle measures with what you're given. I'm going to be looking for your work. Guys, I'm noticing a lot of you are not listening to the video. You're just writing down and moving on. I say a lot of things that don't get written down. So here's one thing I am saying. If you are reading this video, if you are listening to this video at this point, please write the word angle and circle it at the bottom of your page, and you will get a bonus point on your next quiz.